Welcome to Season 3 of the Three Moons, Three Souls podcast with host Jacqueline Burke. On today's episode, we are talking with Jeanne Hoag.
Welcome to the podcast, Jeanne. How are you today?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
Oh, good, thank you. It's a beautiful day, so I'm not going to complain.
Even here in Medicine Hat, it's
Yeah,
it's a beautiful day. Yeah, get the dog
nice.
out for a walk a little bit later.
Oh, right on. So I'm glad you're here with me today. I wanted to ask you about your spiritual journey. When what part in your life, how old were you when you decided that this was a calling for you?
Hmm. Interesting choice of words, calling. Um, my dad was a United Church minister, and he joined that when I was 11. And I remember asking him why we were doing this because he moved us from home in Lethbridge to Saskatchewan, and we weren't very happy as a
Yeah.
family. And he said, "Well, it's my calling. The Lord called to me,
Oh,
and this is where it is." And I paused with that, a calling.
yeah.
So anyway, growing up, it was like we were immersed in Sunday school and going to church
Okay.
and that sort of thing. And one of the things that always struck me about my parents was their faith
Okay.
that, their belief and trust that something far greater had a hand in our lives and would guide us on the journey. So that was kind of how I, grew up believing that there was something greater than. As a child, I was probably considered a weirdo.
Yeah.
Um, I grew up in a house with 10 other people, including my parents. There was
Oh,
nine
wow.
family. But with all of that going on and all those people, I often felt lonely, like
Right.
detached
Yeah.
from the rest. And I could never quite figure that out. But um, as I grew up and kind of found my way,
Yeah.
I just accepted that everybody has their own little path and differences.
Yeah.
But it was I married young. We lived on a farm. I wasn't used to being on my own. And again, that sense of, loneliness. I mean, I always seemed to have it, but now I was truly on my own.
Yeah.
So had kids young, but I remember, battling some depression, anxiety, and I went to a doctor, and he gave me a book on how to meditate.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this was very unusual,
Yeah,
of
well,
course, back
yeah.
then.
What
So
doctor does that?
exactly. So I read it and found that the guide on how to meditate, how to, go within and, shut out the external, provided a really safe place for me to be and to explore kind of, who I was and
Yeah,
what is my plan, like what is my purpose here. So that was kind of the beginning in my early 20s. And then my relationship, my marriage disintegrated in the, mid 80s. And I went on my own path, becoming cosmetologist,
oh,
aesthetics. Did that sort of thing. And I found that what I really enjoyed was sharing and teaching what I was doing. And
yeah.
so I was hired by the school that I took my course in to become an instructor.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so that was very, I loved, and I found that when I look back at my childhood, that was something that I always enjoyed was bringing people together,
Right.
gathering people together, helping them. I remember in grade 6, our teacher was so amazing, and he really encouraged us to open up to what our strengths were. And so I created a group of people kids that wanted to be in a play. So I wrote
Oh,
this play,
oh, wow.
directed, and it was so much fun. But that was, I discovered that that was kind of a strength of mine, to be able
Yeah,
to do that, that gathering of people sharing, and it was
that's
fun.
very cool.
Yeah. And then in the cosmetology aspect, we did fashion shows. So I again used that strength to create these events and
Yeah,
that sort of thing. So we did multiple fashion shows and that sort of thing. It was fun, fun, fun.
yeah.
And then I helped this teacher who was looking to receive her journeyman certification so that she could get a advanced teaching. And this was in Saskatchewan. So while we were sharing and doing that, she said to me, you're a really good teacher. You really explain things well. Have you ever thought about going into education?
Oh, wow.
I didn't even graduate from high school. Like, how
Oh,
could I possibly go
yeah.
into teaching and go to university? And she said, really, they have this adult education program,
Oh,
and you should check it out. So I did, and lo and behold, I was accepted, and thus my training in education began. So I went to university and got my degree 4 years later, and it just again, it's that opening of how to address the passion that was inside of me, how to help others. And so that was the beginning of that part. So fast forward, again, my leadership qualities came through in many different ways during my teaching years. And I was invited to join a leadership development group. And I've also taken training in special education. So
oh,
that's my area was in helping kids with special needs. So I found that, this also gave me an opportunity to lead people. And I also went from teaching into administrative roles. So I became vice principal and then principal of a school for at-risk youth. Now, during these years, I met my now husband, Dale.
yeah.
And one of the things that we found that we really enjoyed or had in common was this exploration into the metaphysical realm. So
Nice.
there was this lovely lady in Moose Jaw, and she did tea leaf readings, and she used a pendulum and tarot and all those things. We used to go for readings, or if we were in any other city that happened to have a medium or whatever, we would always go. And
Yeah.
so there was always that, belief in that kind of,
Nice.
you know, the occult or metaphysical realms. So coming into the area of my principalship at this school for at-risk youth, we had this lovely program for these challenged children,
Okay.
and we all worked very well as a team to provide the best education for them. And during my third year at that school, the school division amalgamated. And so a new superintendent was put in charge of our school, and they decided that it needed to close
Oh,
because they were very much into the integration model. These
okay.
children, young adults, should be sent back to their home schools, was the
Oh,
philosophy, right?
oh,
In the inclusion model. And so we found ourselves at a really challenging situation. And one of the counselors, the addictions counselor that I worked with, in that year, she had heard about this program called Emotional Freedom Technique,
oh,
EFT.
yeah.
And so she said, Jeannie, I think that this would be great for our kids to use. And so there was the introduction into energy medicine or the idea of using energy. And so I was intrigued by that. And by the end of that year, which would have been, I think, 2008, perhaps, um, I was so at a loss as to what to do. The school was,
Yeah.
being shut down, and what was I to do? And I felt as though my professionalism was in question. Um, that I had parents very upset. I had, of course, the teachers were very upset, and mostly the kids. What was I to do?
Right.
And they were like, this is the only place I felt successful. I don't want to go back to those big schools. But so anyway, it was a very distressing time for me. And I decided at the end of June, I had a conversation with my husband. I said, I can't see myself going back. I don't know what to do. And so I made the choice to take a year's leave of absence.
Oh,
So during that time, and you hear this all the time, things are meant to be. And again, I had that voice from my dad in my head saying, have faith, trust, believe.
yeah.
Right? And so I took the leave of absence with the idea we had kind of had this little home-based business on the go, and I kind of used that as the
Yeah.
reason, but it was stress. And so I started to explore online like coaching courses, life coaching, that sort of thing.
Okay.
And also during that time, there was a metaphysical store that had opened up in Moose Jaw.
Oh,
And
okay.
so I started hanging out there.
Cool.
So I started learning about crystals and about energy, and I was reading all about this stuff that was so like mind blowing to me.
Yeah.
And the lady that owned the shop, she hired me,
Oh, neat.
yeah, to come, and because I was there all the time anyway, may as well get.
Yeah. Why not?
And so it was a fascinating introduction. And one of the things she had a poster there for this lady from Regina was coming over to do this presentation one evening. So I said, maybe I'll go and take a listen. Well, she was talking about archangels and she was talking about Anunnaki and I mean, I was totally blown away by.
I bet.
I took all of her information and I had it in a folder in my office at home. And by this time, it was like the end of May. So I was having to make a decision about what I was going to do about going back to teaching.
Yeah.
And I really didn't have a clue. I just knew that I didn't want to go back to administration because it seemed like that was where my philosophy didn't match with the
Right.
philosophy of, so let me go back and just work with kids, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, I was looking for her information because I thought, well, she did these readings. So I
Yeah.
found this piece of paper and on it said 5-day intensive. It was called Angelic Awakening Workshop.
Oh,
Five, 5 days.
5 days.
So
Wow.
I was like, holy crow. So I phoned her up to book an appointment for a reading. And I said to her, like, do you have people that are coming to this? Like, I was
Yeah.
just like, and she goes, well, as a matter of fact, I have 9. And
Oh,
it was
wow.
being held in Moose Jaw. So I said, well, sign me up. And it was expensive considering I had been off work for a year.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I had this feeling that that's what I was meant to do. And so that was really the opening into
Yeah.
all of this. I learned about numerology, about chakras, about energy, about archangels and spirits and past lives. And oh my gosh, it's so amazing.
Yeah.
So that was kind of the beginning of it all. And then my husband, I'd come home and I'd share with him, and he was in, wow, I want to do this too. So then he
Yeah.
went wanted to take it. And so then we started to just develop. And and again, I through the metaphysical store, I met different people, and
Yeah.
so I met this lady that taught Reiki, and so I signed up, and that became really the foundation. By the time I got my Reiki master through her, it was like I knew that this is what I was meant to do.
Yeah.
And then of course with my teaching background, it was like, okay, this makes sense. I want to
Yeah.
teach this now. So that was pretty much the beginning. And I remember one time at the metaphysical store, this lady walked in, and I recognized her as the superintendent of student services, a lady that I knew in
Yeah.
education. I was just watching her, and she was walking around. She was telling this other person about all this metaphysical stuff. And when she came up to the counter, I went, "Oh my God, like I have no idea." And she said, "Oh, Jeannie, yeah." She said, "I've been in the spiritual closet for a long time."
Oh, wow. That's neat.
It was so empowering, right?
Yeah.
And then this person i- that I knew from years and years ago when I was on the farm, she did yoga and different things. And she approached me and she said, Jeannie, we're looking at having a group of people come together and opening like a clinic type of
Oh,
set. Would you and Dale be interested?" And I said, "Sure." So, yep, we became part of Turtle Island. It
oh,
was,
nice.
and we were like, we did Reiki and readings, and there was a massage therapist, somebody with biofeedback, the yoga. It was a full clinical situation, right? We
Oh,
offered
wow.
thing natural, way beyond the time when people were really
Yeah.
accepting that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, we had a great time doing that, and then that kind of petered out. And by that time, I had gone back to teaching, but only 75%. And then I went down to 50%, so that we could also work
Yeah.
at the clinic. And Dale was nearing his time of retirement, and so I took early retirement from
Oh,
teaching.
good.
We went into this full time. And after leaving the Turtle Island situation, then we started doing things at home. So we would gather in our living room and do meditation.
Okay.
Um, you teach. We were doing our clients at home, and it worked out really good, and I loved it. And we would come to Medicine Hat to do Heal the Hat, which is
Oh,
a
yes. Yeah.
healing expo. And
Yep.
we have a connection in Medicine Hat because of our family being here, but also we'd met these other
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
in the metaphysical world. And
Yeah.
so we had already kind of started to create this group of followers here.
Yeah.
And when we decided to retire entirely, we chose to move here.
Yeah.
And um, so,
That's
yeah,
beautiful there. Yeah.
it is. Um, the other part of, what we do and what we offer are the retreats.
Yeah.
And Cypress Hills, Saskatchewan has always been like a sacred place to us. Long before we started doing this work, it was always our go-to
Yeah.
for camping and that sort of thing. And so we had approached, there was a piece of property that came up for sale in Elkwater. And so we approached the parks people about and I had to create a proposal and everything.
Yeah.
And it turned out that it was an election year here, and so everything was put on hold. The director or the minister of recreation that we had been working with, he transferred to a different position. A new person came in. They didn't see our proposal,
Oh,
and so by the time it all, was
yeah.
looked at, they had sold it to
Oh,
another. So that plan was kind of, oh, it was so disappointing because we were that close
that,
to our
yeah.
property out there. But the idea of holding retreats was always there. And then friends of ours, he had been a friend of ours for many years. We had learned about him, and he was working on frequency devices, so
Oh,
scale wave frequency devices, and we still have many in our home. Anyway, he and his partner, they talked to us and said, why don't we do a retreat out in Cypress
oh,
Hill?
cool.
So yeah, that was in the fall of, I don't even remember what year it was now. And it went over quite well, but because it was like their kind of brainchild, it
Yeah.
was like, okay, well, I love doing this sort of thing. So then in the spring, we had already booked the hall and made plans, and then they backed out. They said it just wasn't going to work for them. And I
Oh,
thought, well, then let's go ahead with this.
yeah.
So we went ahead and we had our first retreat that spring, and then it just felt so good. It's
Yeah.
it's like the ultimate gathering facility, right?
Yeah. Oh,
Bringing
that's nice.
together and that concept of sharing. So yeah, we're into our 13th or 14th now,
Oh, wow.
and
That's
we
fantastic.
We bring practitioners to
Yeah.
share. So, yeah, we have a lot of different practitioners come and share what they do, and then we added the silent retreats, and that was kind of a funny story. Years ago, both Dale and I have done the Vipassana meditation
Okay. Yeah.
in your Youngstown here in
Okay.
Alberta, and loved it. And because we're Reiki practitioners practicing, they only allow you to go to one 10-day out there.
Okay.
So I was telling, we have a group that meets regularly, and I was sharing with the group that I was disappointed that I couldn't do another 10-day silent retreat. And one of the ladies said, well, why don't you do your own, Jeannie?
Yeah.
Like, oh, hey, yeah, how about that? And so one of the other ladies, she had attended a couple of 3-day, like short silent retreats. So she said, I'd love to share with you. Let's get together. So we did, and I did some research, and so we created our first silent retreat at Reeser Ranch, still in the Cypress Hills,
Yeah.
but a little different setting in September of last year, and it was so amazing.
Oh,
It
that's
was
good.
so awesome. Yeah. So now that's become, we're going to offer one in May now. So we have
Good.
retreats at the end of April, May will be September, and October, the end of
Oh,
October.
that's great. That's perfect timing in the year too.
Yeah.
I find, yeah.
And
You
then
know,
we,
it's funny when you're talking about you took a year off, it jumped in my head the book Gift of a Year
ah,
and how it kind of teaches you or puts certain things in your path to figure out what you're really meant to do.
wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that's amazing because listening to your story, basically that's what happened.
It is exactly what happened.
What a gift.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because look at what you and Dale are doing now.
Hmm.
Like transforming lives and just providing that space and teaching and growing with your groups and like it's just, it is a gift. I mean, there's no other words for it but a gift.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And at the time, I looked at it as like, oh my God, like what am I going to do? And
Yeah.
and it's funny because you go through these challenges, what you perceive as, the end of the world. How am I ever going to get through this? To
Yeah.
realizing the gift it became.
Yeah. Yeah.
If that wouldn't have happened, where would I be? Right?
Right. I have a question for you that I ask quite a few of my guests, and that is with what you know now today and what you've gone through like all your life. If you're to turn around and talk to little Jeannie,
Mm.
what advice would you give her?
Just keep believing and trusting and having faith that
Yeah,
everything happens for a reason. And sometimes, there's a saying that God won't give you anything more than you can
yeah,
handle. And I believe that is so. I think I have a very blessed life. I don't have a lot of major challenges in my life, so I do feel very grateful and
yeah,
blessed. But yeah, just surrender and go with the flow and yeah, trust in
yeah.
yourself. Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's
Yeah.
great. So, now part of our podcast is we like to provide gratitude.
Hmm.
So, and to share gratitude. So, what is something that you're very grateful for recently or today or, you know?
I'm grateful for all the people that we have encountered since we began, and even those before, who have helped that trusted in us,
Yeah,
that have followed along, or in whatever way, whether it was taking Reiki or retreat or one of our workshops or meditation nights, whatever it was, that they trusted and we were there for them at the time that they need it.
yeah,
And it fills me with so much gratitude too when I see those people and where they have gone,
right.
right? So
Yeah,
we see that, and it's that ripple effect. You don't realize what an impact you have.
yeah.
And yeah, it does. It fills my heart.
Oh, that's good. So, what's coming up for you and Dale?
Well, we've got the retreat the end of April, and the one in the silent retreat in May.
Okay,
We've also got a friend here in town that has a little acreage, and she has approached me to do like a 1 day kind of mini retreat out there.
nice. Yeah,
I'm probably in beginning of July, so that's something new and
yeah,
exciting.
right on.
Yeah, and we're always, I just received an email from a friend here in town that they look at different philosophies, and it's called the Master Plan.
Oh,
And
okay,
I've been exploring that and seeing where it lands within me because I'm all
okay.
about, I always like to learn and explore
Yeah.
new things. So, yeah, that's kind of where
Oh,
we're at.
that's cool.
Yeah.
Right on. Well, listen, thank you so much for being with me today. I really appreciate it. And I would like to invite you back to do a part two because I know there's a lot more to talk about. So would you be into that?
I'd absolutely be thrilled.
Oh,
Thank,
wonderful. Okay, well, thank you so much, Jeannie, and you have a lovely day.
thank you. You as well.
Thank you to our listeners for joining us at the Three Moons, Three Souls podcast. We would like to take this time to thank our sponsors for their continued support. Nirvana 101, Trinity Empowerment Center, Red Haven Healing, Summers Light Markets and Events, Fernbury Collective, Ram Tough Property Maintenance, Lynette Waltham Energy, Your Waves Radiant Energy Empowerment Clinic, Brandy Music Publishing Canada, Wildcat Hills Records Canada, Divine Guidance Personal Empowerment with Dale and Jeanne Hoag, Soul Sanctuary Lounge, Krylo Crystal Creations, Bonnie Cypriot Psychic Medium and Author, Burke Virtual Assistant Agency and Transformational Retreats in Cypress Hills, Saskatchewan. Your contributions help us bring meaningful conversations, inspiring stories and soulful perspectives to our community. We are extremely grateful and look forward to a wonderful Season 3.